I'm Sadie, 32, from a small town in Colorado. Picture this. I'm in a helicopter soaring over the Rockies, the world below a patchwork of green and white. My sister Harper's next to me, my husband Caleb across from us. The air's crisp, the moment perfect. I'm grinning, thinking we're celebrating our family's company, my dad's legacy. Then I catch Harper's eyes, cold, distant. Caleb won't look at me. In a heartbeat, I'm falling her whisper in my ears. You've always been in the way. Ever trusted someone who broke your heart? Where are you watching from? Hit like, subscribe, and let's unravel this together. I can still feel the wind from that helicopter ride, the way it whipped through my hair as I sat between Harper and Caleb, my heart full of pride. That was supposed to be our moment, a celebration of the company Dad built, the one I'd poured my soul into keeping alive. Growing up, Harper and I were thick as thieves. She was 4 years older, always the one to wipe my tears when I fell off my bike. Her hands steady as she taught me to balance. We'd stay up late whispering secrets under the glow of a flashlight, promising we'd always have each other's backs. Dad used to say we were his legacy, two halves of the same dream. When he died 3 years ago, his heart giving out too soon, I thought Harper and I would carry that dream together. Now, sitting in my office, I can't shake the memory of her cold eyes in that helicopter. It's been a week since I planned the trip, and something's off. The office is quiet today, just the hum of the air conditioner and the faint clack of keyboards down the hall. I'm reviewing contracts for our biggest client, yet a deal that could keep us afloat for years. Harper's the CFO, the one who crunches the numbers, but lately she's been distant. Last week during a board meeting, I caught her staring out the window while I presented. No smile, no nod, just her fingers tapping the table like she was counting down to something. When I asked her to review the budget, she brushed me off, saying she'd get to it later. That's not like her. Harper's always been the one to double-check every decimal. I lean back in my chair, the leather creaking under me, and glance at the photo on my desk, me, Harper, and Dad at the company's 10th anniversary. His arms around us, his grin wide like he knew we'd make it. I touch the frame, my chest tight. Maybe she's just stressed. The company's been struggling since Dad passed, and I know she feels the weight of it too. But then I remember yesterday when I walked into her office to grab some files. She was on the phone, her voice low, almost a hiss. It's set for the helicopter trip, she said, then hung up fast when she saw me. I asked who it was, and she laughed it off, saying it was a vendor. But her eyes darted away, and I noticed her new purse, some fancy leather thing that must have cost a fortune. Since when does Harper splurge like that? I shake my head, trying to focus on the contract in front of me. The words blur together, and I rub my eyes. That's when Joyce walks in, her arms full of binders. She's been our accountant since Dad started the company, a woman with sharp eyes and a sharper tongue. She drops the binders on my desk, her lips tight. Sadie, we need to talk, she says, closing the door. My stomach twists. Joyce doesn't close doors unless it's serious. She sits across from me, her hands folded like she's bracing for a fight. I've been going through the books. There's money missing. Big chunks moved to accounts I can't trace. Harper signed off on every transfer. I blink, my throat dry. What are you saying? Harper wouldn't do that. Joyce leans forward, her voice soft but firm. I'm saying you need to look at this. I know she's your sister, but these numbers don't lie. She slides a spreadsheet across the desk rows, highlighted in red. Thousands of dollars gone with Harper's initials next to each entry. My hands shake as I scan the page. I want to laugh, to tell Joyce it's a mistake, but the numbers stare back at me, cold and undeniable. She's probably just reorganizing things, I say. My voice thin. Joyce sighs, her eyes full of pity. Sadie, I've seen this before. People get desperate. Just be careful, okay? I nod, but my mind's racing. Harper stealing. It doesn't make sense. She's the one who taught me to balance a checkbook, who lectured me about saving for college. But then I think of her new purse, that phone call, the way she's been avoiding me. I push the spreadsheet away, my heart pounding. No, I'm not going to doubt her. Not yet. She's my sister. I stand up, forcing a smile. I'll talk to her, Joyce. It's probably nothing. But as Joyce leaves, her warning sticks in my chest like a splinter. I grab my phone and text Harper about the helicopter trip, hoping it'll bring us closer like old times. Her reply comes fast. Sounds great. I'm in. I stare at the words, trying to feel relieved, but all I feel is a quiet, creeping doubt. The morning of the helicopter trip dawns bright, the kind of Colorado day where the sky feels endless. I'm up early pulling on my favorite jacket, the one Dad got me for my 25th birthday. It's worn at the cuffs, but it feels like him, like he's still here cheering me on. I'm buzzing with excitement, thinking this trip will fix whatever's been off with Harper. We're celebrating a contract that'll save the company, and I want her to feel it too, to remember we're a team. I drive to the airfield, the compass necklace Dad gave me swinging against my chest. It's heavy, solid, a reminder of the direction he always said I'd find. At the airfield, the helicopter waits, a sleek Bell 206 gleaming under the sun. Greg, the pilot, is already there, checking the controls with a grin. He's a wiry guy, ex-military, with stories of flying in storms that make my stomach flip just hearing them. "Ready for the ride of your life?" he asks, winking. I laugh, nodding, but my eyes are on Harper and Caleb pulling up in his truck. They step out, and my heart lifts, then stumbles. Harper's in a new coat, too flashy for her usual style, and Caleb's got that same quiet look he's had for weeks, like he's somewhere else. I wave, but Harper's smile is tight, like it's painted on. Caleb just nods, his hands stuffed in his pockets. We climb into the helicopter, the seats snug, the smell of metal and fuel sharp. I'm in the middle. Harper on my left, Caleb across from us. Greg starts the engine, and the blades roar to life, vibrating through my bones. We lift off the ground, falling away, the Rockies stretching out like a painting. I lean toward Harper, pointing at a snow-dusted peak. "Remember when Dad took us hiking there?" I say, trying to catch her eye. She glances out the window, her jaw tight. "Yeah," she mutters, barely audible over the hum. I wait for more, for a laugh or a memory, but she just stares ahead, her fingers twisting a ring I don't recognize. I turn to Caleb, hoping for a spark of the man I married, the one who used to make me laugh until my sides hurt. "What do you think?" I ask, gesturing at the view. He shrugs, his eyes fixed on the floor. "It's nice," he says, voice flat. My stomach twists, Joyce's warning echoing in my head. Missing money, Harper's initials, that phone call. I push it down, telling myself I'm overthinking. This is my family. We're here to celebrate. But then Harper speaks, her voice low, sharp like a blade. "You've always been the golden child, haven't you?" "Sadie?" I freeze, my breath catching. It's not the words. It's the way she says them, like they've been festering for years. I try to laugh it off. "What's that supposed to mean?" I ask, keeping my tone light. She doesn't answer, just looks out the window, her lips pressed thin. I glance at Caleb, waiting for him to jump in to tease her like he used to, but he's staring at his hands like they hold some secret. The helicopter dips slightly and my heart lurches. I grab Harper's hand, instinct from all those years of leaning on her. Her fingers are cold, and she pulls away fast, like my touch burns. I stare at her, my pulse loud in my ears. The compass necklace feels heavy against my skin, like it's trying to anchor me. Greg calls back, pointing out a valley below, his voice cheerful, oblivious. I nod, but I'm not listening. My mind's spinning, replaying Harper's words, her coldness, Caleb's silence. I think of Dad's will, how he left me the company's leadership, said I had the vision to carry it forward. Harper hugged me that day, said she was proud. Was that a lie? The helicopter banks and I grip the seat, my knuckles white. I want to ask Harper what's wrong, to shake Caleb until he looks at me, but the words stick in my throat. Something's coming, something I can't name, and it's clawing at my chest, whispering that I've missed something vital. Back in my apartment, the silence is deafening. I'm curled up on the couch, the TV muted, its flicker casting shadows across the room. Harper's words from the helicopter keep looping in my head, sharp and bitter, like a song I can't unhear. You've always been the golden child. I rub the compass necklace between my fingers, its cool metal grounding me. Caleb's been gone all evening, muttering something about a late meeting. He's been doing that a lot lately, coming home after midnight, his clothes smelling faintly of cologne I don't wear. I used to think it was work stress, but now, after Harper's coldness, I'm not so sure. I met Caleb in college back when I was 20, all wide-eyed and dreaming of building something big like Dad did. He was in my engineering class, the guy who'd crack jokes during lectures and sketch silly doodles in my notebook. We'd stay up late talking about our future, how we'd travel, maybe start a family. 5 years into our marriage, those dreams feel like someone else's life. Last month I found receipts in his jacket for dinners at places we never went together. When I asked, he laughed, said they were client meetings. I wanted to believe him. I always want to believe the people I love. But tonight my hands tremble as I dig through the mail pile on the kitchen counter. I wasn't looking for anything specific, just something to distract me from the knot in my chest. That's when I find it a letter from an insurance company addressed to Caleb. My name's on it too, but it's not a bill. It's a confirmation of a life insurance policy, $5 million with Caleb as the beneficiary. My breath catches my fingers crumpling the paper. $5 million. The number feels like a punch. I sit at the table staring at it, my mind racing. Why didn't he tell me? We talk about everything, or at least we used to. I hear the front door open and Caleb walks in, his tie loosened, his face tired, but guarded. I hold up the letter, my voice steady despite the storm inside. What's this, Caleb? He freezes, his eyes flicking to the paper, then back to me. It's just insurance, Sadie. For us. You know, in case something happens. His voice is too smooth, like he's practiced it. I stand, stepping closer. $5 million. And you didn't think to mention it? He runs a hand through his hair, a nervous habit I used to find charming. It's not a big deal. I was protecting our future. I want to scream to shake him until the truth spills out, but I keep my voice low. Protecting our future or yours? He flinches, and for a second I see something in his eyes. Guilt, maybe fear. Then it's gone, replaced by that blank stare from the helicopter. You're overreacting, he says, turning toward the bedroom. I'm tired. Let's talk tomorrow. The door clicks shut, and I'm left standing there, the letter in my hand, my heart pounding so loud, I'm sure he can hear it. I sink back onto the couch, my thoughts spiraling. Harper's new coat. Her whispered phone call, Caleb's distance, and now this. I think of Tessa, my best friend since high school, who called me last week after a dinner party. Her voice was hesitant, like she didn't want to hurt me. Sadie. I saw Harper and Caleb at that new bar downtown. They were in a corner talking low, like they didn't want anyone to hear. It looked off. I brushed her off, said they were probably planning a surprise for the company's big contract. But now her words feel like a warning I ignored. I pull out my phone, scrolling through texts with Harper. They're short-clipped, nothing like the long messages we used to send full of inside jokes. I stop at one from a month ago when I asked her to join me for coffee to talk about Dad's anniversary. Busy, she replied. Just that. No explanation, no reschedule. I thought she was grieving in her own way, but now I wonder what she was doing instead. Planning something with Caleb. The room feels smaller, the air thicker. I clutch the compass necklace tighter, my thumb tracing its edges. Dad always said it would guide me, but right now I'm lost, and the people I trusted most are starting to feel like strangers. I'm standing in the snow, my boots sinking into the icy slush, the world spinning around me. The helicopter's roar fades above, but I can still hear Harper's voice, cold and deliberate, slicing through the wind. You've always been in the way. My body aches, ribs screaming from the fall, but it's nothing compared to the pain in my chest. I see her face again, that smirk as I fell, and Caleb's eyes empty, watching me drop. They didn't even flinch. I'm sprawled in a ravine, branches snapped beneath me, my jacket torn. I'm alive somehow, but it doesn't feel like a victory. It feels like a mistake they didn't finish. My fingers fumble for the compass necklace, its chain tangled in my hair. It's still there, a small piece of Dad, but even that feels hollow now. I try to stand, my legs shaking, pain shooting up my spine. The Rockies loom around me, their peaks indifferent. I'm alone, colder than I've ever been, and the people I loved most just tried to kill me. My mind replays the moment Harper's hands on my back, firm, intentional, pushing me out the open door. Caleb just stood there, his silence louder than the helicopter's blades. Did he know? Did he plan it with her? The thought twists like a knife. I stumble forward, snow soaking my jeans, my breath ragged. I need to move to find help, but every step feels like betrayal sinking deeper. Harper, my sister, the one who braided my hair for prom, who cried with me at Dad's funeral. Caleb, who promised forever under a starry sky. How long have they been plotting? I think of the insurance policy, $5 million. Caleb's name scrawled as the beneficiary. My stomach churns. Was it just the money? Or was it the company, Dad's legacy, the one he entrusted to me? Harper's voice echoes again, her words from the helicopter now laced with years of resentment I never saw. A rustling snaps me out of my haze. A man appears, a hiker, his backpack bulky, his face creased with worry. "Hey, you okay?" he calls, jogging toward me. "His name's Lucas," he says as he kneels beside me, checking my pulse. His hands are warm, steady, the opposite of Harper's. "You're hurt bad. I'm calling for help." He pulls out a phone, his voice calm but urgent. I try to speak to tell him what happened, but my throat's tight words stuck behind a wall of shock. "My sister." I manage, my voice cracking. "She pushed me." Lucas's eyes widen, but he doesn't press, just stays close as he talks to the dispatcher. The weight feels endless, the cold seeping into my bones. Lucas drapes his jacket over me, talking softly about the trails he hikes, trying to keep me awake. I nod, but my mind's elsewhere, piecing together the past. I remember Harper's face when Dad read his will, how she smiled, said she was happy for me. Was it all a lie? And Caleb, the man who kissed me goodnight every day, who built our home with me. Did he ever love me? Or was I just a stepping stone to $5 million? The thought makes me want to scream, but I'm too weak, my body betraying me as much as they did. Sirens wail in the distance, growing louder. Lucas squeezes my hand, says help's almost here. But I'm not thinking about rescue. I'm thinking about Harper's smirk. Caleb's silence, the way they stood together as I fell. My chest tightens, not from the pain in my ribs, but from the realization that's clawing its way up. They wanted me gone. My sister, my husband, they planned this. And as the paramedics' lights flash through the trees, I'm not sure what hurts more, the fall or the truth that I was never enough for them. I'm lying in the hospital bed, the beeping monitors a steady rhythm against my racing thoughts. My ribs ache, my arms in a sling, but the real pain is deeper, gnawing at my heart. Lucas got me here, his face a blur as paramedics rushed me through the doors. Now I'm alone, staring at the ceiling tiles, trying to make sense of it all. Harper pushed me. Caleb knew. The truth feels like a weight crushing my chest, but I'm not ready to accept it, not fully. I keep seeing their faces, Harper's smirk, Caleb's blank stare, and I wonder how I missed it for so long. Joyce visits that afternoon, her usual sharp edge softened by worry. She sits by my bed, her hands clasped tight. "Sadie." I dug deeper, she says, her voice low. "Those accounts I told you about. They're offshore, hidden under shell companies. Harper's been moving money for months, millions. And Caleb's name is on the paperwork too." My stomach drops. Millions. Not just the insurance policy, but Dad's company, the one he built from nothing. I grip the bedsheet, my knuckles white. "You're sure?" I ask, my voice barely a whisper. Joyce nods, sliding a folder across the tray table. Emails between them. They plan to cash out after... She trails off, but I know what she means. After I was gone. I open the folder, my hands shaking. The emails are there, cold and clinical, like I was a problem to be solved. Harper wrote, "Once she's out, we take the company. The insurance is just the start." Caleb replied, "Make it clean. No loose ends." My vision blurs, not from pain meds, but from the betrayal sinking in. My sister, my husband, plotting my death like it was a business deal. I think of our childhood, how Harper would sneak me extra cookies when Mom wasn't looking, how Caleb would hold me during thunderstorms, whispering that we'd be okay. Were those moments real, or was I always just a pawn? The door opens and a woman walks in, her badge glinting under the fluorescent lights. Detective Rachel, she introduces herself, her eyes sharp but kind. Ms. Thompson, we need to talk about the helicopter incident, she says, pulling up a chair. The pilot Greg filed a report. He says it didn't look like an accident. My heart pounds, the room suddenly too small. What did he see? I ask, my voice cracking. Rachel leans forward, her notebook open. He saw your sister push you. He couldn't stop it, but he's willing to testify. I close my eyes, the memory flooding back, Harper's hands, the rush of air, the ground coming fast. I want to scream that it's not true, that there's some mistake, but the emails in my lap say otherwise. Rachel asks more questions about Harper Caleb, the company. I answer in a daze, my mind stuck on a memory from when I was 12. Harper and I were at Dad's office playing with his old typewriter. He caught us, laughed, and said, "Sadie, you've got the spark to run this place someday." Harper's smile faded then, just for a second, and I brushed it off as nothing. Now I see it, the seed of jealousy growing all these years. Did she hate me that much? Enough to kill me. And Caleb, the man who vowed to love me forever, how could he sign those emails? I hear voices outside my room, and my blood runs cold. It's Harper, her tone smooth, practiced talking to a nurse. My sister's fragile, you know. She must have slipped. Caleb's voice joins in, low and steady. We're just glad she's okay. Okay. I want to laugh, to scream, to tear down the door and confront them. They're lying, standing there like they didn't try to end me. My hands clutch the folder, the emails crinkling under my fingers. Rachel notices, her eyes narrowing. Sadie, do you want to press charges? She asks. I open my mouth, but no words come. My sister, my husband, they're right outside pretending to care while I'm holding proof they wanted me dead. The walls close in and I can't breathe, the weight of their betrayal suffocating me. The hospital room feels like a cage, the air thick with the weight of Harper's lies filtering through the door. I clutch the folder of emails, my fingers leaving smudges on the paper, as Detective Rachel waits for my answer, press charges. The words hang heavy, but before I can speak, the door swings open. Harper steps in, her face a mask of concern, Caleb trailing behind his hands, fidgeting. Sadie, thank God you're okay, Harper says, her voice syrupy, rushing to my bedside. She reaches for my hand, but I pull back, my skin crawling. Caleb stands by the window, his shoulders hunched, avoiding my eyes. Rachel stands, her posture stiff. Ms. Thompson, we were just discussing the incident, she says, her tone sharp. Harper's smile falters just for a second, but she recovers fast. It was an accident, she says, her eyes flicking to me, pleading. You slipped, Sadie. The helicopter was shaking. I tried to grab you. Her words are smooth, rehearsed, but they cut deeper than any knife. I stare at her, the sister who taught me to tie my shoes, who shared my secrets, and all I see is a stranger. Caleb clears his throat, stepping forward. She's right, Sadie. It was chaos up there. We were all scared. His voice cracks, but it's not remorse, it's fear. Fear of being caught. I want to scream, to throw the emails in their faces, but my throat's tight, my body weak. Instead, I shove the folder at Rachel. Read these, I say, my voice hoarse. She opens it, her eyes scanning the pages, narrowing as she reads. Harper's face pales, her hands clenching. What's that? She asks, her tone too sharp, too desperate. I force myself to sit up, ignoring the pain shooting through my ribs. You tell me, Harper, I say, my voice low, trembling with rage. You wrote them. You and Caleb, planning to kill me for the company for $5 million. The room goes silent. The monitor's beeps, deafening. Harper laughs, a brittle sound shaking her head. You're delirious, Sadie. The fall messed with your head. But her eyes betray her, darting to Caleb, who's frozen, his face gray. Rachel steps between us, her hand on her radio. These emails are evidence, she says. You two need to come with me. Harper's mask cracks, her voice rising. This is ridiculous. She's lying, trying to ruin me. She turns to me, her eyes blazing, not with guilt but with anger. You always got everything, Sadie. Dad's love, his company, all of it. I was just the spare. Her words hit like a slap, tearing open a wound I didn't know existed. I think of every moment I thought we were close, every hug, every laugh. Was it all a lie? Caleb steps toward me, his hands out, pleading. Sadie, I didn't want this. It was her idea. Harper spins on him, her voice a hiss. Don't you dare pin this on me. I'm shaking not from pain but from the raw, ugly truth spilling out. My sister, my husband, they didn't just betray me, they hated me enough to plan my death. I look at Harper, her face twisted with rage, and Caleb, his cowardice laid bare. The folder slips from my hands, papers scattering across the bed. Rachel's radio crackles officers on their way, but it doesn't matter. The world I knew is gone, shattered by their words, their greed. I sink back against the pillow, my chest hollow, my heart a wreckage of trust broken beyond repair. The hospital room is behind me now, a blur of white walls and antiseptic smell. I'm out against the doctor's orders, my ribs still aching, my arms stiff in its sling. But I can't stay there, not after Harper's venomous words, not after Caleb's betrayal laid bare. I'm in a cab, the driver's radio humming softly as I head to a small church on the edge of town. My funeral's today. The thought is absurd, chilling, but it's real. They think I'm dead, and they're playing the part, grieving for a crowd while plotting their payoff. I clutch a small voice recorder in my pocket found in my office drawer last week. Its contents a secret I haven't shared with Rachel yet. Harper's voice is on it, cold and calculated, planning the push. I don't know how it got there, but it's my weapon now. The cab pulls up to the church, its steeple stark against the gray sky. I pull a hoodie over my head, tucking my hair inside, and slip on a scarf to hide my face. My heart's pounding, but it's not fear anymore. It's something harder, sharper. I'm done being the victim. I step out the gravel, crunching under my boots, and slip through a side door. The church is packed, familiar faces from the company, neighbors, distant cousins. The air smells of lilies and wax, and a photo of me sits on a table framed in black, my smile frozen from a happier day. My chest tightens, but I push it down, focusing on the task. Harper stands at the front, her eyes red, a tissue pressed to her face. She's good. I'll give her that. Every bit the grieving sister. Caleb's beside her, reading from a note card, his voice low, talking about my bright spirit. The crowd murmurs, some dabbing their eyes. I spot Aunt Nora in the second row, her face pale, her gaze fixed on Harper like she sees through the act. I wonder if she knows something, if she saw the cracks I missed. I inch closer, staying in the shadows, my hand tight around the recorder. Every word from their mouths feels like a fresh cut, but I'm not here to bleed. I'm here to end this. I think of Dad, how he'd sit me on his knee and talk about standing tall no matter what. I was always his fighter, even when I doubted myself. Harper's voice from the hospital echoes. You always got everything, but she's wrong. I worked for every piece of this company, every late night, every tough call. They don't get to take it or me without a fight. I slip into a pew at the back, my breath shallow, my fingers brushing the recorder. It's small, but it holds the truth, and I'm ready to let it out. Harper steps to the podium, her voice trembling as she starts her eulogy. Sadie was my best friend, she says, and the lie is so smooth it almost fools me. I stand my legs steady despite the pain shooting through my side. The crowd hasn't noticed me yet, their eyes on Harper. I pull the scarf down my face, exposed, and take a step forward. My heart's a drum, but it's not panic, it's purpose. I press play on the recorder, holding it high. Harper's voice fills the church, clear and cold. She's in the way. The helicopter's the perfect chance. The room freezes. Gasps rippling through the crowd. Harper's head snaps up, her eyes, locking on mine, wide with shock. Caleb drops his note card, his face draining of color. Aunt Nora's hand flies to her mouth, but there's a glint in her eyes like she's been waiting for this. I stand taller, the recorder still playing, my voice silent, but my resolve screaming. This is my moment, and I'm taking it back. The church is a frozen tableau, the recorder's echo fading into stunned silence. Harper's voice, cold and damning, hangs in the air, and every eye is on me. I stand in the aisle, my sling itching against my skin, the pain in my ribs a dull pulse. Harper's face twists her mouth, opening then closing like a fish gasping for air. Caleb bolts for the side door, his footsteps loud against the hardwood. The crowd erupts voices, overlapping shock, anger, disbelief. I don't move my hand steady on the recorder, its weight grounding me. This isn't about them anymore. It's about me taking back what they tried to steal. Harper lunges forward, her hands reaching for the recorder, her nails grazing my wrist. "Give me that," she snaps, her voice raw, desperate. I step back, holding it out of reach, my eyes locked on hers. "No," I say, my voice low but firm, cutting through the chaos. "You don't get to hide this." The crowd parts, some standing, others whispering, their faces a blur of pity and outrage. Aunt Nora rises her hand on my shoulder, her touch warm, steady. "Sadie," she whispers, "I knew something was wrong. I'm so sorry." Her words are a lifeline, but I don't need saving anymore. I need truth. Detective Rachel pushes through the crowd, her badge catching the light. "Harper Thompson." "Stay where you are," she says, her voice commanding. Two officers flank her, their radios crackling. Harper stumbles back, her eyes wild, searching for an escape that isn't there. "This is a mistake," she says, her voice shrill, turning to the crowd. "She's lying. She's always been jealous of me." The accusation stings, but it's hollow, and I see it in their faces. They don't believe her. Not anymore. I step forward, the recorder still in my hand, and face her. "You pushed me, Harper. You planned it with Caleb. For the company, for the money. Say it." Her lips tremble, but she doesn't speak. The silence is louder than any confession. I turn to the crowd, my voice steady despite the storm inside. "I'm not dead," I say, my words carrying to every corner of the church. "My sister and my husband tried to kill me. They wanted the company my dad built, the one I fought for. They wanted $5 million from an insurance policy I didn't even know about. But I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere." The crowd murmurs, some nodding, others staring at Harper like they're seeing her for the first time. Rachel takes the recorder from me, her eyes meeting mine with a nod of respect. "We'll take it from here," she says, motioning to the officers. They move toward Harper, who's backed against the podium, her hands raised like she can stop this. Caleb's already gone, the side door swinging shut behind him. I could chase him, demand answers, but I don't. I'm done running after people who don't choose me. Instead, I walk toward the front of the church, past the photo of myself, past the lilies that smell too sweet. I stop at the podium, my fingers brushing the wood, and I think of Dad, how he'd stand here during community events, his voice warm, proud. I turn to face the crowd, my sling heavy, my ribs aching, but my heart feels lighter, like I've shed a weight I didn't know I carried. I love them, I say, my voice soft but clear. I trusted them, but they chose greed over me. I'm not here to mourn what I lost. I'm here to fight for what's mine. The crowd is silent, their eyes on me, some tearful, some angry on my behalf. Aunt Nora squeezes my hand, her grip fierce, and I feel a spark of something new, strength, not born of anger but of clarity. I step away from the podium, my boots steady on the floor, and walk toward the open door, the cold air hitting my face. I don't look back at Harper or the chaos or the life I thought I had. I'm moving forward, and for the first time I know I'm enough. The church fades behind me as I step into the cold, the gravel lot crunching under my boots. My breath fogs in the air, my sling heavy against my shoulder, but I feel lighter, like I've shed a skin that never fit. The crowd's murmurs linger in my ears, their gasps, when Harper's voice played their stunned faces as I walked out. I didn't wait to see her cuffed, didn't chase Caleb's shadow as he fled. That moment at the podium, speaking my truth, was enough. Now I'm in Joyce's car, her hands steady on the wheel, driving me to her office. "You did good, Sadie," she says, her voice soft but firm. "But this isn't over." I nod, staring out the window at the town, blurring by the familiar streets, feeling foreign now. At the office, Joyce spreads out files, her desk a maze of papers and spreadsheets. "We've got enough to freeze those offshore accounts," she says, pointing to a ledger. "Harper moved nearly $3 million, but we can claw it back." I trace the numbers, each one a piece of Dad's legacy she tried to steal. Joyce introduces Marcus, a lawyer, with a quiet intensity, his glasses slipping down his nose as he explains legal options. With the emails and the recorder, we've got a strong case, he says. Attempted murder, embezzlement, conspiracy. They're looking at serious time. His words should feel like victory, but they don't. They feel like a door closing on the family I thought I had. I lean back in the chair, the wood creaking, and think of Harper's face in the church. Not remorseful, but cornered like a fox caught in a trap. I wanted her to beg for forgiveness, to explain why, but she didn't. And Caleb, running like the coward he is, left me with nothing but echoes of his vows. Marcus hands me a contract, a plan to protect the company, to keep it mine. I sign it, my hand steady, but my heart's not in it. I'm saving Dad's dream, but at what cost? I think of his grave, the one I haven't visited since this all began, and feel a pull to go there to talk to him, even if he can't answer. Joyce and Marcus keep talking, mapping out court dates, but I'm half listening, my fingers brushing the compass necklace. I see Dad's face, his laugh lines, the way he'd tilt his head when he was proud. He'd tell me to keep going, to hold the line, but I'm tired. Not of fighting, but of losing pieces of myself. Joyce notices, her eyes softening. You don't have to decide everything now, she says. But you're not alone. I nod, but alone is exactly how I feel, sitting in this office that smells of coffee and ink, surrounded by people, but missing the ones who mattered most. I drive to the cemetery, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows over the headstones. Dad's grave is under an oak, its leaves rustling softly. I kneel, the grass damp against my jeans, and trace his name on the stone. I want to tell him I'm sorry that I let Harper and Caleb tear us apart. I want to ask why he chose me to lead if it cost me my sister. The compass feels heavy around my neck, a reminder of his faith in me, but it's not enough to fill the hole they left. I hear a car pull up, footsteps approaching, and I tense, expecting Harper or Caleb ready to defend myself. But it's just a groundskeeper tipping his hat before walking away. I'm safe for now. But the weight of what's coming, court questions, the unraveling of my life, settles over me, heavy and cold like a storm I can't outrun. The courtroom smells of polished wood and stale coffee, a sterile contrast to the chaos in my chest. I sit in the witness stand, my sling gone, but my ribs still tender, a reminder of the fall. Harper's across the room, her hair pulled back, her face unreadable. Caleb's next to her, his shoulders slumped, his eyes fixed on the floor. The judge's voice drones, legal terms blurring together. But I'm not here for the details. I'm here to face them, to say what needs saying. The prosecutor calls my name, and I stand, my hands steady despite the tremor in my heart. I recount the helicopter ride, the push, the emails, my voice, even like I'm telling someone else's story. Harper's gaze burns into me, but I don't look at her. I describe the recorder, its damning words, and the courtroom murmurs, jurors shifting in their seats. When I finish, the silence is thick, broken only by the scratch of the court reporter's pen. The prosecutor asks, "Did you suspect anything before that day?" I pause, my throat tight. "No," I say, my voice low. I trusted them completely. Harper's lawyer stands, his tie too bright for the room. He questions me, probing for cracks, suggesting I misunderstood, that I was confused after the fall. I don't flinch. I know what I heard, I say, my eyes on the jury. I know what she did. Harper's face doesn't change, but her hands clench, her knuckles white. Caleb lifts his head, his eyes meeting mine for the first time. "Sadie." He mouths, his face pleading, but I turn away. His regret is too late, too small. After I meet Tessa outside her car, idling in the courthouse lot. She's been my rock, showing up with takeout when I couldn't eat, listening when I couldn't speak. "You were brave in there," she says, her voice soft as she drives me to my new apartment. A small place across town, far from the house I shared with Caleb. I nod, but bravery feels hollow. I won the company back, the accounts are frozen, and Harper and Caleb face years behind bars. But what did I lose? My sister, my husband, the belief that love could be enough. Inside my apartment, the walls are bare, the furniture sparse. I sit on the couch, the springs creaking, and pull out a card from my therapist, a woman I started seeing last week. She says I'm grieving not just for them, but for the version of me who trusted blindly. I set the card down my fingers. Brushing a photo I kept one of Dad and me at a company picnic, his arm around my shoulders. I want to feel his pride, but all I feel is the ache of what's gone. The trial's not over, but the verdict's coming soon. I lead a company meeting that afternoon, my voice steady as I outline new projects, the team's eyes on me, trusting, hopeful. But as I speak, I see Harper's clenched hands, Caleb's pleading look, and the weight settles deeper. I saved Dad's legacy, but I couldn't save us. I walk to the window, the town spread out below, and my reflection stares back older, harder. The victory feels like ashes, and as the sun dips low, I wonder if I'll ever feel whole again. The morning air is sharp, cutting through my jacket as I hike a narrow trail in the Rockies. My boots crunch against the frost-covered path, each step deliberate grounding. It's been weeks since the trial, since I stood in that courtroom and watched Harper and Caleb face the consequences. The company's stable now thanks to Joyce and Marcus, but I needed this a morning alone with the mountains. I'm heading to the ravine where I landed, not to relive the fall, but to see it differently, to reclaim it. The sky's a pale blue, clouds drifting lazy, and for the first time in months my chest doesn't feel so tight. I stop at a clearing, the ravine just ahead, its jagged edges softened by fresh snow. I sit on a boulder, my breath visible, and let the quiet sink in. The compass necklace catches the light, its familiar weight a comfort. Dad used to say the mountains taught resilience, that they'd stand long after our troubles faded. I used to roll my eyes at his wisdom, but now I get it. I've lost so much. My sister, my marriage, the trust I held so tight, but I'm still here, still standing. I pull out a notebook, one I've been carrying since therapy started. My therapist suggested writing to Harper, not to send, but to let go. I open it, my pen hovering over the page. Dear Harper. I write, then pause. What do you say to someone who tried to erase you? I think of our summers at the lake, how you'd push me on the tire swing, your laugh louder than mine. I write that down, the memory vivid, and then the words come easier. I forgive you. I write not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace. The pen shakes, but I keep going, pouring out the hurt, the love I still can't shake, the sister I lost long before the helicopter. A twig snaps and I look up. It's Lucas the hiker who found me that day, his backpack slung over one shoulder. Didn't expect to see you here, he says, his smile easy, no pity in his eyes. I close the notebook, a little embarrassed. Just needed to think, I say. He nods, sitting on a nearby rock, and tells me about his own story, a brother who cut him out after a business deal went sour. It changes you, he says, tossing a pebble into the snow. But it doesn't define you. His words settle in, simple but heavy, like the mountains around us. We talk for a while, the conversation light, about trails and coffee shops, not betrayal or trials. It's strange feeling normal, like I'm not just the woman who survived a murder attempt. Lucas points to a hawk circling above its wings, cutting through the sky. They don't carry baggage, he says. Just fly. I smile, the first real one in weeks, and feel something shift, like a knot loosening. I'm not healed, not yet, but I'm starting to see a path forward, one I can walk on my own terms. Lucas leaves me at the clearing, his footsteps fading down the trail, and I'm alone again with the mountains. The notebook sits in my lap, its pages filled with words I'll never send. I close it, tucking it into my backpack, and stand my legs steadier than they've been in months. The ravine's below, a scar in the earth where I landed, but it doesn't scare me now. It's just a place, not my story. I walk to the edge, the wind soft against my face, and feel the compass necklace shift against my collarbone. I don't need to look at it to know it's there, a quiet tether to Dad, to the woman I'm becoming. Back in town, I head to the company, the office humming with the usual rhythm of phones and keyboards. I'm hosting an event tonight, a small gathering to celebrate a new contract, one I secured without Harper's shadow or Caleb's promises. The conference room's set up with folding tables, a spread of sandwiches and coffee, the kind of thing Dad loved. Joyce catches my eye as I adjust a centerpiece, her smile warm. You're doing him proud, she says, and I nod, my throat tight. Tessa's there too, arranging chairs, her laughter cutting through the chatter. Aunt Nora arrives late, her eyes searching mine before she pulls me into a hug. "I should have spoken up sooner," she whispers. I saw Harper's anger, but I didn't want to believe it. I squeeze her hand, letting her know it's okay. Blame won't fix what's broken. The event starts, and I stand at the front, my voice steady as I thank the team. Their faces are open, trusting a reminder of what I'm fighting for. I talk about the future, new routes, new clients. But really, I'm talking about hope, about building something solid from the ruins. They clap, and for a moment I feel Dad's presence, his quiet nod of approval. But there's an ache, too, for the sister who should be here, for the husband who never was. I let it sit, not pushing it away, just letting it be. After I drive to a community center across town, a place I found last week where people gather to talk about loss, betrayal, healing. I volunteer to lead a group, nervous but ready. Inside, the room's warm, filled with folding chairs and faces I don't know. A girl, Mia, maybe 16, sits in the corner, her eyes downcast. She reminds me of myself at that age, all heart and no armor. I introduce myself, share a piece of my story. Not the helicopter, not yet, but the feeling of losing people you thought were home. Mia looks up, her eyes meeting mine, and I see a spark, a question she's too shy to ask. I smile, nodding, and she relaxes just a little. It's small, but it's enough. Later, I'm outside, the night sky stretching wide, stars sharp against the dark. I lean against my car, the air cool, my breath slow. The compass rests against my chest, its weight familiar but lighter somehow. I think of Mia, of the team, of the mountains standing quiet behind me. I'm not whole, not yet, but I'm here, and that's a start. The world feels still, like it's holding its breath, and for the first time, I'm not afraid to breathe with it. The sun's low, painting my apartment walls gold through the open blinds. I'm sitting at my kitchen table, a chipped mug of tea in my hands, the steam curling up slow. It's been months since the trial, since Harper and Caleb's sentences were handed down. The company's humming along, stronger than ever, with new contracts and a team that feels like family. I've got a routine now, something steady: mornings at the office, evenings at the community center. With Mia and the group, weekends hiking trails I'd forgotten I loved. It's not perfect, but it's mine, built from the ground up after everything crumbled. I walk to the window, the town quiet below, streetlights flickering on. My new place is small, just a one-bedroom with creaky floors, but it's home. No traces of Caleb's cologne, no echoes of Harper's laughter. I've hung a few photos, ones I chose, me and Dad at a county fair, Tessa grinning at a barbecue, Mia's shy smile from last week's group session. They're reminders of what I've kept, what I'm building. Therapies help too. I go twice a week, sitting across from a woman who listens without judgment, helping me untangle the knots of guilt and anger. I used to think healing meant forgetting, but now I know it's carrying the scars without letting them steer. This morning I drove to the community center early before the group arrived. Mia was there, sketching in a notebook, her pencil scratching soft against the paper. I sat beside her, asked what she was drawing. A tree, she said, its branches twisting toward the sky. It's you, she told me, her voice quiet. Strong even after the storm. I didn't know what to say, just nodded, my throat tight. She's 16, carrying her own weight, but she sees me, really sees me, and that's new. I'm not just the woman who fell from a helicopter anymore. I'm Sadie, someone who listens, who shows up. Back at the apartment, I set the mug down and pull out a journal, not the one from the mountains, but a new one, its pages crisp. I write about today, about Mia's tree, about the way the office smelled of fresh coffee this morning. Small things, but they matter. They're proof I'm living, not just surviving. I think of Dad, how he'd sit at his desk jotting notes about his dreams for the company. I'm doing that now in my own way, not for him, but for me. The compass necklace sits on my dresser, not around my neck anymore. I don't need it to find my way. I glance out the window again, the sky deepening to dusk, and feel my breath slow, steady, like the world's finally giving me room to just be. The next morning, I'm back at the cemetery. The air cool, the grass still damp with dew. Dad's grave looks smaller in the daylight, the oak above it shedding leaves that flutter down like quiet apologies. I kneel, my fingers brushing the stone, and set the compass necklace in the grass, its metal glinting one last time. I don't need it anymore, not because I've forgotten him, but because I've found my own direction. I stand, the breeze soft against my face, and whisper a goodbye. Not to Dad, but to the weight of what Harper and Caleb did. It's not forgiveness, not fully, but it's close enough to let me breathe. I meet Lucas for coffee later at a diner with cracked vinyl booths and a jukebox humming old country tunes. He's easy to talk to, no pressure, just stories about his hikes and a dog he's thinking of adopting. I laugh when he describes the mutt, a scruffy thing with one ear up, one down. It's the kind of laughter that feels new, unburdened, like I'm remembering how. He doesn't ask about the trial or the helicopter, and I'm grateful. For the first time, I'm not defined by what happened. I'm just Sadie, drinking coffee, planning a hike for next weekend, living a life I'm choosing. At the community center that evening, I lead the group, my voice steady, as I share a new piece of my story. Not the fall, but the standing up after. Mia's there, her notebook open, sketching again. She shows me a new drawing, a horizon with a single star, and says it's for hope. I nod, my chest warm, and think of how far I've come from the ravine to this room, from betrayal to something like peace. The group listens, their faces open, and I realize I'm not just helping them, I'm helping myself, weaving a new story one step at a time. Looking back, I see it all: the helicopter's roar, the church's silence, the courtroom's wait. I thought losing Harper and Caleb would break me, but it didn't. It showed me who I am when the world falls apart. The lesson isn't loud or grand, it's quiet, steady, like the beat of my own heart. Trust yourself first, because even when love fails, you don't. You rebuild. You choose, you live. I'm not the same Sadie, but I'm stronger, not because I won, but because I kept going. What's the moment that made you realize your own strength? Share it below. I'd love to hear your story. If this resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Thank you for listening, for being here. Keep walking your path, wherever it leads.